On the news, Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu breaks down during funeral mass for victims of a church attack admits failure of government. Ruling party All Progressives Congress APC yet to declare Tinubu's running mate as INEC deadline elapses. And INEC assures Nigerians of optimal performance of BVS machine during Saturday's governorship election in Ekiti State. Many thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. The people of Owo, Ondo State and the Catholic Church have been thrown into mourning as victims of the deadly attack on St. Francis Catholic Church are laid to rest today. This comes 11 days after 40 worshippers of St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State, southwest Nigeria, lost their lives in a gruesome attack by gunmen wielding deadly weapons and explosives. The funeral mass began by 9 a.m. at Midas Resort and Hotels in Owo and had in attendance Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu and the former governor of the state, Olusegun Mimiko. The Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, who admitted the failure of the government to secure the lives and properties of Nigerians, expressed optimism of triumph over the killers. Details in this report. It's a sad day for the people of Owo and the Catholic Church of Nigeria. By 9 a.m. Friday morning, more than 20 caskets had arrived at the location of the funeral mass, where for more than 3 hours, the clergymen from the Catholic Church performed the required mass in honor of the victims. This solemn service reflects the mood of the loved ones left behind. They are ready to bury the dead, but the caskets spread through the length of the hall brings back memories of the worshippers who are now victims of terrorist attack. Some clergymen, including Bishop Jude Arugundade of Ondo Catholic Diocese, Bishop Matthew Kuka of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, and the Most Reverend Emmanuel Badijo, Bishop of Oyo Diocese, among others, were in attendance. In their remarks, the bishops passionately demanded for an end to the killings in the country, as well as the need for government to step up its efforts in apprehending the perpetrators and ending terrorist attacks.
If this is not genocide, I don't know what genocide is. I know they have promised us, we will find the killers, we will do this, all these empty promises. What is this? Why are people have no shame? This country, you don't have shame anymore. You just talk. You don't match your talk with words. So my dear brothers and sisters, you didn't fail. Your country failed you, of course. And we know the leaders that failed us. And we'll continue to hold them accountable. This will not go away.
In particular, the Most Reverend Emmanuel Badijo, Bishop of Oyo Diocese, urged Nigerians to exercise their franchise by electing leaders who would solve the nation's problems.
Let us all perform our civic duties with honesty and sincerity. In reality, we all need 2 PVCs to be good citizens and truly God children. The permanent voters card, we all know that. Get it for voting during the elections. But you also need what I call the positive verifiable character. It's a PVC too. The positive verifiable character is what guarantees integrity in you, trustworthiness, empathy, and accountability. All part of good character that qualifies you for good citizenship here and for heaven. Let us all work hard for both the permanent voters card and the positive verifiable character.
With an emotional-laden voice, the Ondo State Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu said the government has failed the people of Ondo State.
murdered 40 people. And we still have over 70 in the hospital. Some have been discharged. What is your governor going to say in defense? Nothing. I am here before you to accept a failure on security. We have failed. We have failed. We have failed to defend these people. Not because we are not trying, but because the forces on the other side, they are evil and they have support. A few times, these forces of evil will triumph over us, but that triumph cannot be forever. It will never be forever.
After the funeral mass was completed, families of the victims took the remains of their loved ones for burial at a cemetery at Emure Road in Owo. So far, the federal government has identified the perpetrators of the attack as members of the Islamic State for West African Province, ISWAP, a development which the governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi, has described as too hasty. Folashade Ogrindi, TV360 News. And now to politics. The deadline set by INEC for political parties to submit the names of their president and vice presidential candidates has elapsed. But while the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, has reviewed their candidates, the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, is yet to do so. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in its constitution says 6 p.m. Friday, the 17th of June is the deadline. The commission has also insisted that the deadline would not be extended. But what does this mean for the APC? Political affairs analyst Nelson Ekujimi joins me now live from Ekiti. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, what do you make of this development, and especially as we're getting unconfirmed reports that the APC has submitted the names of its presidential candidates and vice presidential candidates? But why is this shrouded in misery? Why the secrecy?
With the people of Ondo State and Nigerians in general over this dastardly act that that the corpses were buried today. I pray that the Lord will strengthen the families and that the Lord will give the security agencies the grace to be able to go after the perpetrators of this evil act and bring them to book. Looking at the crux of the matter, which is about the APC presidential and vice presidential candidate submission. Well, for your information, the APC vice presidential candidates in line with provisions in the Electoral Act. So, as we speak, APC is not in violation of the Electoral Act or the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Don't forget, we must also educate our people that the responsibility of submitting the names of the presidential and vice presidential candidate by APC is to INEC and to no other person in particular. So APC has done the needful in submitting the name of its presidential candidate as well as the name of its vice presidential candidate. So the time lapse by INEC has not caught up with them, has not caught them offside. They are within the provisions of the law.
Our political affairs analyst Nelson Ekujimi, thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much for your contribution. The Chief of Defense Staff, CDS General Lucky Irabo, has warned politicians and their supporters who are planning to cause trouble during the 2023 general elections to desist from the act. Addressing journalists in Abuja at the bi-weekly media briefing of the Defense Media Operations, General Irabo also advised persons vying for political offices to abide by the rules of the game and maintain decorum in the forthcoming elections. He further warned that any attempt to circumvent the process will be dealt with according to the nation's laws.
It is every one of us that will ensure that we have a peaceful electioneering period and the incoming 2023 election, so that every one of us will have a country that we will be proud of. If we don't have a country, then there will be no appointive positions to aspire for. So the most important thing regarding this election that is coming is that we must be men and women that conduct ourselves peacefully. And I need you, members of the press, to drive this message down to everyone, that for anyone who is looking forward to be elected, he must do it within the ambit of the provisions of the law, because we will not in any way stand aside and see those who perpetrate violence, or because they are looking for political offices, appointive offices. Nigeria remains a nation that must live in peace, desire to live in peace, and Nigerians deserve to live in peace.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has reassured the residents of Ekiti State of its readiness to conduct a free and fair governorship election. INEC's National Commissioner and Chairman of Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, gave the assurance during a television interview on Friday. Okoye also explained that the Commission has concluded arrangements to ensure that voters are not delayed due to accreditation in a bid to cast their ballots. According to him, INEC has deployed more bimodal voter accreditation system (BVAS) for the exercise compared to the number of polling units where the election will take place. President Muhammadu Buhari has said, following his vision of making Nigeria more peaceful, prosperous and reliable among nations, the key sectors of governance, security, economy and corruption have received significant attention with measurable results. At the passing out parade of the regular course for 2016 cadets of the Nigeria Police Academy in Wudil, the president explained that the policies and actions of the government made impact on the vision. On rising insecurity, the president said more effort will go into ensuring that normalcy returns to all the areas suffering banditry.
This administration came to office determined to make impact in three main areas: security, building a sustainable economy, and fight against corruption. We can say that recent positive developments in these areas have shown that despite the challenges on ground, we can see general improvement in all three areas. This administration has also focused on security by repositioning our national security to perform their duties effectively. We have equally embarked on some crucial changes in their funding, structure, and modes of operation. As a government, we will do everything possible to address the challenges facing the academy by calling on the intervention of the relevant agencies and parastatals to facilitate the developmental plans embarked by the academy. Adequate budgetary provisions will be made to accommodate capital and recurrent expenditure, as the welfare of staff and cadets remains among our government priorities.
These young graduates, cadets, through the heterogeneous and coordinated knowledge acquired both in professional and academic studies, are prepared to be pervasive actors in securing the territorial boundaries and protection of lives and properties of our dear nation, most especially as the country is confronted with multifarious security challenges.
The People's Democratic Party (PDP) presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar has charged members of the party in Lagos State to do everything possible to bury their differences so as to emerge victorious in the forthcoming presidential elections. Atiku said this at the Empowerment Program for 500 youths sponsored by Tommy Ogungbe under his foundation, Imole Eko Foundation Empowerment. Atiku was represented by one of his aides, Adia Edwin, who explained that the good gesture initiated by Ogungbe is one of the good qualities of the PDP. On his part, the organizer of the event, Tommy Ogungbe, said he came up with the initiative because of his compassion for the people.
This unprecedented feat, the courage he has, the ability he has, the generosity he has to put this thing together and ensuring that he made all these materials available to empower young people, I think is highly commendable. It's something that we will encourage everyone to emulate. It's an eye-opener, and for me, it's something that every Nigerian should do.
It is good to help our people, and moreover, I've lived in the UK for 45 years, so I know what it is when you talk of charity. I have a charity organization in the UK, and I know how they touch lives. So see someone touching the lives of the less privileged, putting smiles into their faces, you see that is something very great. When you talk of empowering people, it's something from your mind. If you don't have the mind of assisting the less privileged, you can't do it no matter what.
Poverty in this country leads so many of our kids to something else entirely. Mostly Yahoo. It's part of what I don't even empower for. Let's help each other and let's know where we are going. It's not because I want a political position. And in life, if you touch people's soul, God never told you to go to the world and preach God's will alone. Touch people's soul, let them be happy. The more they are happy, the more joy you have.
We'll take a break here, but still to come, World Trade Organization members agreed to ease patent rights to boost COVID-19 vaccine supplies in poorer nations. Details of the story and more right after this break.
Opinions are free, facts are sacred, but truth is universal.
How, in practical terms, can we, for instance, de-escalate the tension?
President must see himself as the President of the Federal Republic.
We know where the enemy is. 3 places. The Lake Chad Basin, the border area between Nigeria and Cameroon, and then the Sambisa Forest.
On TV360, we give you a complete dose of everything. Opinion, facts and undiluted truth.
I hardly believe what politicians are saying in this part of the world.
A new Nigeria is possible, a future is possible.
We delve into the issues, dissect it so that you can understand it, use it to take action.
I don't think there's any need for any governor to look for grant for ranching.
TV360, dissecting the issues.
Welcome back. Now here is a recap of our top story tonight. The people of Owo, Ondo State and the Catholic Church have been thrown into mourning as the victims of the deadly attack on St. Francis Catholic Church are laid to rest today. This comes 11 days after 40 worshippers of St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State, southwest Nigeria, lost their lives in the gruesome attack by gunmen wielding deadly weapons and explosives. Speaking at the funeral mass, the Ondo State Governor, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, admitted the failure of the government to secure the lives and properties of Nigerians. When in case you missed any of our news bulletin, for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. The member countries of the World Trade Organization, WTO, have on Friday agreed on a narrow measure aimed at boosting the supplies of COVID-19 vaccines in developing countries. The compromise measure on intellectual property rights will make it easier for companies in developing nations to manufacture and export a patented COVID-19 vaccine under limited circumstances without consent from the patent holder if they have the approval of their own governments. The agreement wraps up a bitter fight over corporate patent rights governing critical medical products during a pandemic. Thailand has announced that it will drop rules requiring people to wear nose masks outdoors and will no longer require foreign visitors to register before travel amid a decline in cases. Spokesman for the Thai COVID task force explained that while wearing nose masks in crowded areas, entertainment venues and on public transport is still recommended, the Health Ministry would announce further details of the mask relaxation, including when it would come into force. The nation's tourism-dependent kingdom has also gradually relaxed COVID restrictions in the bid to boost visitor numbers. We'll take a breather here and return with more stories and business. To stay with us. Welcome back. Simi Saladigo is on standby to bring us up to speed on the latest in the world of business. Over to you, Simi.
Thank you, Folashade. Welcome to business. The federal government has announced that at least 17 airports under the management of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria that are currently not up for concession are going to be given to concessionaires. The Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, who disclosed this at the ongoing National Aviation Conference in Abuja, said that aside from the current concession of Nigeria's major international airports, other airports will gradually follow suit. He also disclosed that the country's civil aviation regulations were currently being reviewed for unbundling in order to make the entry requirements for aviation investors much easier. Speaking on investment opportunities in the aviation sector, Sirika said investments in the airports and airport concession, starting with international airports, present excellent opportunities for revenue. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has revealed that the rate of inflation in Nigeria is expected to remain elevated in 2022. This was contained in a statement on the IMF's website issued after meetings between an IMF team and Nigerian authorities to discuss recent economic and financial development and the economic outlook for the country. According to the IMF, the fiscal deficit of the consolidated government is expected to remain high at 6.1% of the nation's gross domestic product, GDP, majorly due to costly petrol subsidies and limited tax revenue collections. It further explained that Nigeria's economic growth is driven by services and agriculture, with the GDP growth reaching 3.6% year-on-year in the first quarter of 2022. We'll go on a short break here and be back with stock market reports. Nigeria's equities market wraps up this trading week on a bearish note, depreciating by 1.21%. The record loss is caused by remarkable sell-offs across key sectors, that's the banking, oil and gas, insurance and consumer goods stocks. The all-share index and market capitalization closed at 51,778.08 basis points and 27 trillion naira respectively. 104 listed equities traded 241 million volume of shares with a value of 3.665 billion naira in 5,043 deals. Worst performing stocks, Mark Nichols PLC and Adova PLC, lead 22 other losers with a combined loss of 15 naira and 35 kobo. Ela Lakes PLC and UAC of Nigeria top the list of gainers with 15 naira and 50 kobo. Global stocks also fell sharply this week after major central banks boosted borrowing costs while investors weigh the possibility of aggressive monetary policy tightening leading to a recession. So all three of our select stocks are in the bears. The UK's FTSE at 0.41%, Dow Jones 0.11%, and Japan's Nikkei at 1.77%. That's all on stock market. Back to you, Folashade.
Well, many thanks, Simi, for that update. And on the foreign scene, Ukraine's Prime Minister has disclosed that the country received a loan of $770 million on concessional terms. The Prime Minister, via a social media handle, expressed gratitude to the Canadian government for support and comprehensive assistance in the fight against Russia. IMF spokesman Gary Rice had earlier hinted that Germany has pledged to contribute funds, and other countries have also indicated interest. Well, up next is Entertainment Report on News Now.
Nollywood actor Moses Armstrong has been arrested by the Akwa Ibom State Police Command for allegedly raping a 16-year-old girl. National President of the Actors Guild of Nigeria, Emeka Rollas, while confirming Armstrong's arrest, described the case as a sad development and very serious. He disclosed that the case is being handled by Akwa Ibom's First Lady, Martha Udom Emmanuel, through her Family Empowerment and Youth Reorientation Path initiative. American singers Mariah Carey, Pharrell Williams, Steve Miller, Eurythmics and the Isley Brothers are among those inducted into the prestigious Songwriters Hall of Fame at the 51st Annual Induction and Awards Gala in New York. This year's edition of the gala honors the composers behind pop culture's most indelible hits that remain timeless. With a reputation for being one of the most highly sought-after tickets in the industry, the Songwriters Hall of Fame bucked the train of the past pandemic-saturated years of award shows, rotating towards a virtual format. And that's all we have on the entertainment segment of News Now.
Away from entertainment and now to sports, Sadio Mane is set to join Bayern Munich after the German champions reached €41 million agreement with Liverpool. Liverpool will receive a €32 million fixed fee for the Senegal international, with a further €6 million available based on appearances and €3 million depending on individual and team achievements. The transfer fee means that Liverpool have sold the winger for more than £33.5 million they paid to sign him from Southampton in 2016. The Senegal star will leave Merseyside after 6 years to join the Bundesliga champions. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Ogrinde. Bye for now.